A star NDP candidate tells people to vote with their skin color, and the silence is deafening from the mainstream media. Today we're meeting your destroyers, John Archer edition. I'm going to show you a now deleted tweet from star NDP candidate in Edmonton-South, John Archer. But first, let's talk about exactly who John Archer is, because it becomes sort of relevant to the story. If you'll recall, last week he was the one that tried to accuse a Nigerian immigrant UCP candidate named Casey Maydew of white supremacy because he posed in front of one of my beautiful stopnotley.com lawn signs. It was one of the dumbest things I've ever seen in politics, and I've spent nearly the last 4 years covering the NDP in Alberta, so you know that's saying a lot. Now, John Archer has worked extensively in communications. He spent 22 years at the CBC before he joined the Premier's communications team in 2015, because of course he did. He just made the lateral move from the outside propaganda arm of the progressive movement to just working inside the progressive movement itself. And from there, Archer moved on to be Brian Mason's press secretary over at the Ministry of Transport. So he's a trained communicator. He says what he means, which makes what he tweeted the other day all the more idiotic. He probably meant it. Now let's take a look at a quick screen roll of the tweet that I took the day he tweeted it, because I absolutely knew he would eventually delete the tweet in shame. He sent this the day the advanced polls opened. It reads, "Also, vote today or tomorrow or Friday or Saturday from anywhere in the province. Then you'll be free on election day, April 16th, to help us out. Direct message for details." And then he included all the relevant hashtags for, of course, maximum exposure. And boy, he got it. And he attached a handmade image that read, "Vote as if your skin is not white. Your son is transgender. Your mom needs cancer treatment. Your house was flooded. Your overtime pay feeds your family. Your daughter's class is bursting at the seams. Your sister quit her job because she can't afford childcare. Your hometown was burnt by a wildfire. Vote as if your family depends on it." Now, I could take issue with the politicization of pretty well everything on that list, but I couldn't get past the first one. Vote as if your skin is not white. The UCP candidate in the riding John Archer is running in, as I pointed out earlier, is a Nigerian immigrant lawyer named Casey Maydew, who only came to Canada in 2005. John Archer has already accused him of supporting white supremacy, even though this is what Maydew's campaign team looks like. Pretty multicultural, pretty diverse, and I betcha way more diverse than John Archer's campaign team, if you care about those sorts of things. In response to Archer, as reported on the pages of the Post-Millennial, Maydew said, "As an African Canadian, I am deeply offended by Mr. Archer's derogatory comment about skin color, which is designed solely to divide and offend," said Maydew in his statement. After 4 years of disastrous NDP policies, Albertans are voting in this election based on ideas for a better future, not skin color. And of course, trying to make the whole thing just go down the memory hole, Archer deleted the tweet and sort of apologized, I suppose, but I'm not precisely clear what for. He said, "I have deleted a post from earlier today. It was not in line with the message I want to share during this campaign. It was a mistake, and I apologize." Archer needs to apologize for his casual bigotry. Instead, he's just apologizing for tweeting about it during the campaign. Let me tell you what I think is happening here, and I really hate to use the language of the left, but maybe if I do, they might understand the problem here. This old, cisgendered white man of privilege and power thinks that he owns the votes of people of color in his riding simply by virtue of his party affiliation. John Archer is treating people of color and sexual minorities, for that matter, and even victims of natural disasters as a monolithic voting bloc whose votes he feels entitled to, as opposed to viewing these Albertans as distinct free-thinking individuals with personal autonomy and issues that matter to them personally. John thinks the NDP just owns them, which I believe is actual bigotry, and it's against the droning NDP mantra of diversity to view segments of the population as single-issue robots. But you won't hear about this story in the pages of any mainstream media publication because, as we've learned in this election, and of course every election before this and every election going forward, if it's not a Tory, it's not a story. For the Rebel.media, I'm Sheila Gunn Reid. Hey, to get the truth about the NDP, the truth the mainstream media absolutely isn't going to tell you about John Archer or anybody else, be sure to get my new book. It's called Stop Notley, and in it I make the case for throwing out the NDP. You can get it at stopnotley.com, and while you're there, find out where and when we're giving away our beautiful stopnotley.com lawn signs that drive all the progressives wild. Again, that's at stopnotley.com.